Chapter 1063. Beast God Sector Translator. Nuobo Studio Editor. Nuobo Studio Luo Feng felt the ever-changing nature of time velocity. It was as though he were passing through the universe path leading back to the primal universe. Hua. The surroundings zoomed into clarity. Where am I? Luo Feng looked around and saw towering trees and plants. Those ancient trees were at least 60 miles high. Su. He shot up into the air and hovered above the forest. High up in the sky, he surveyed the surroundings. At first glance, there was a vast plain a distance away from this forest. Within his field of vision, he could only see two vast domains, the forest and the plain. On these two domains, he saw numerous enormous, towering sculptures representing the legendary 8 natural beast gods. Every one of these natural beast gods had its own set of sculptures that were doing various things like sleeping, roaring with their heads raised, playing, and in many other poses. There were many different types of natural beast god sculptures, and each of these had an intimidating presence. It was as if the actual beast gods were present. Where am I? Luo Feng said again. The Space Beast Alliance's ancestor told me that he would grant me access to the Space Beast God Alliance's restricted land. Is this it? Luo Feng looked around. Could this be their restricted land? Suddenly, Luo Feng's face contorted in surprise. No. Time velocity. He had just connected with his original Earthling body via his consciousness, and he quickly realized that there was a huge difference in time velocity between the different spaces the two consciousnesses were in. The magnitude of this difference was overwhelming, and it gave Luo Feng quite a shock. Merely 1 second in the primal universe had gone by. Yet Luo Feng had spent a good 100,081 seconds here, meaning to say that the ratio of time velocity was an alarming 1 to 10,081. How is that possible? How can the ratio of time velocity be so exaggerated? Luo Feng found it unbelievable. That means that spending 10,000 years here would only be spending 1 year in the primal universe. Even if I were able to purchase a time palace from my human race, the normal ones can accelerate time velocity by 10 times or several dozen times. Valuables like time palaces could only be made by universe masters who had complete space law comprehension. Yet the time palaces created were no different from a place for cultivation. The only difference was that time velocities were much faster in time palaces. 10 years of cultivation in a time palace would equate to something like a month on the outside world. According to what Luo Feng knew, a time palace was very costly. Normal ones that accelerated time velocities by 10 or a few dozen times were considered average, but those with acceleration of up to 100 times cost a fortune. For those with an acceleration of 10,000 times, humans would not possess such time palaces. An elderly voice resonated throughout the entire place. Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned his head abruptly. In the distance, he saw some black clouds approaching, and the clouds gave off an overbearing force that suppressed the entire world. When these clouds neared him, they transformed into a golden-horned beast, and this beast transformed again, now taking the form of an elderly human wearing a white robe and 9 sharp horns on its head. Ancestor? Luo Feng asked hesitantly. This is my other body, Ancestor said, stepping out into midair. The place you are in now is a universe owned solely by my space beast Alliance. Another universe? Luo Feng was taken aback. He had learned during his chat with Tremble that the Space Beast Alliance owned a universe. Luo Feng found it likely, as the Space Beast Alliance was comparable to the Hong Alliance in terms of capabilities. Since the human race owned the primal universe, it would not be unheard of for the Space Beast Alliance to own one. 2. And here, right in the middle of this universe, is the Beast God Sector, Ancestor. Continued, watching Luo Feng. This is a place specially for training the great beings among beast gods. Beast God Sector, Luo Feng said. He gazed into the vast, boundless world, thinking about how intimidating the numerous beast sculptures looked. They exuded a powerful energy that felt much more oppressive than the Shi Luo Duo sculpture had back then. This is the actual, restricted ground of my Space Beast Alliance, said Ancestor. Even the geniuses of my Space Beast Alliance may not have the chance to enter. Your teacher sitting mountain guest has been very willing when it comes to you. He even approached me personally to ask for my help, but I doubt you will be able to succeed within 100,000 centuries. 100,000 centuries in the Beast God Sector is only 10,000 years on the primal universe. Ancestor smiled. 1 year in 1 century. I'm afraid you have yet to experience it. Yes, Luo Feng said. He was full of admiration for this form of time velocity. May I ask what request teacher sitting mountain guest asked of you? Luo Feng pressed Ancestor for answers. What do I need to achieve to make it out of here? He gave a simple request. Ancestor looked at Luo Feng, then revealed, defeat me. Then you can go out. Duh. Defeat you? Luo Feng's eyes widened. How could he defeat the Ancestor of Space Beast Alliance? Defeat a Universe Supreme Master? You've got to be kidding. Ancestor smiled. I will maintain my power and strength at the same level as your godly body, he said. My godly body will be using the same strength as yours, so if you are able to defeat a similar godly body such as mine, you are able to make it out of here. How is that possible? Luo Feng shook his head vigorously. You are a Universe Supreme Master. Your techniques and methods are all out of this world. Even if a Universe Master were to be here, he would not be able to do this. Let's not even mention Universe Masters at all. Another Universe Supreme Master might not even be able to do this. Right. A Universe Master would not be able to do this, Ancestor told Luo Feng. But another Universe Supreme Master would be able to. Because this is only another body of mine. The best he could do would be to suppress a Universe Master. But to suppress a Universe Supreme Master, this body is not enough. Does that mean I have to become a Universe Supreme Master to get out of here? Luo Feng shook his head. Impossible. How outrageous could this possibly be? No matter how confident Luo Feng was, he would not dare to say that he could become a Universe Supreme Master within 100,000 centuries. He had not expected teacher sitting mountain guest to be foolish to such an extent. Regardless of how conducive this restricted land of Space Beast Alliance might be, it did not have the conditions to groom him into a Universe Supreme Master. Moreover, there was certainly no way a Universe Supreme Master could be cultivated. Cultivation of the Beast God path, time-space path, and many other such paths could only lead up to the Universe Master level. This was the limit. There was simply no proper way to become a Universe Supreme Master. If one wanted to become a Universe Supreme Master, the only way was to depend on oneself. This was what Sitting Mountain Guest had told Luo Feng in the past. "Do not worry," said Ancestor. "Your teacher has given you a glimmer of hope." He smiled again. Luo Feng let out a silent sigh of relief. Maybe the request would not be quite so outrageous. "When you are at the undying level," said Ancestor, "I can only utilize the pinnacle technique at a Universe Master standard. When you have attained the Universe Knight level, I can use the ultimate technique at a Universe Master standard. When you have become a Universe Master, that is when I can use my most powerful technique. Whether you are undying, a Universe Knight, or a Universe Master, this body of mine will maintain the same level of godly body as yours," Ancestor reassured him. "I will also act according to the level of your law comprehension. The more it increases, the more techniques I will get to use." Luo Feng stood stock still. The pinnacle technique at a Universe Master standard? "Of course," Ancestor said, as if reading his thoughts. "Pinnacle technique. The pinnacle technique I will use is definitely the closest to ultimate." Luo Feng sank into despair. Ridiculous. Simply ridiculous. He was merely an undying being, yet he had to battle the space beast Ancestor. Although Ancestor would only be using a pinnacle technique close to the ultimate technique at a Universe Master standard, it was nonetheless akin to an ultimate technique. Defeat? How could I, a mere undying being, create an ultimate technique of a Universe Master? Luo Feng shook his head. This must be a joke. Undying, to create an ultimate technique of a Universe Master? It was unheard of. Impossible. If I were to achieve a breakthrough and become a Universe Knight, then Ancestor would be using the most powerful ultimate technique of a Universe Master, thought Luo Feng. Judging by Ancestor's techniques, I'm afraid the most powerful ultimate technique of the Universe Master level that he will use would be much stronger than that of Primal Chaos City leader. Luo Feng could not help sinking deeper into despair. When I have become a Universe Master, Ancestor will not hold back anymore. He will give it his all. Hopeless. Upon comparison, being at the undying level would have been more hopeful. As just an undying, he had to create an ultimate technique of a Universe Master. This must have just been a dream. Ancestor was still smiling as he continued, "That is why I think you won't be able to succeed, even if you have eons of time. That is why, when your teacher Sitting Mountain Guest made a gamble with the stipulation of 100,000 centuries, I was full of confidence that I would not lose the bet. Ha ha ha. If you want to achieve this, you have two paths to choose from. 1. At an undying level, you can create an ultimate technique of a Universe Master. 2. You can stay in my Beast God sector long enough to become a Universe Supreme Master. There are only two paths," continued Ancestor, "so to become a Universe Knight or a Universe Master or anything else, don't think anymore. The moment you lose focus on trying to increase your law comprehension, the amount of time you will require and use up will continue to accumulate. From undying to pinnacle Universe Knight, this law comprehension alone will take a long time, making it even less possible for you to succeed within 100,000 centuries. You only have two paths. Either of them is somewhat possible. To become a Universe Supreme Master, there is a trace of possibility. To be an undying being that creates an ultimate technique of a Universe Master, there is also a trace of possibility. Ancestor never lost his smile while talking to Luo Feng. He added, "Of course, it will only be a trace of possibility. I, for one, think that you will not be able to achieve any of these at all. I think you will be trapped in the Beast God sector forever." Luo Feng felt helpless. It was little wonder that Ancestor, who stood high at the pinnacle of the universe, would dare to take up such a gamble. It was no wonder he was so confident. A trace of possibility? Perhaps. But only on a purely theoretical scale. In reality, the chances might not be more than one out of countless eons. Beast God sector is open to you, said Ancestor. You can use it for your cultivation. Ancestor gestured to indicate the surroundings. In the distance, Luo Feng could see that the numerous sculptures and part of the plains were glowing brightly. A domain even further away was glowing so brightly that the rays seemed to shoot up into the sky. Sculptures, ground, faraway mountains, and cliffs, said Ancestor. Some of these have lore engravings, and some have secret techniques. There are all kinds of techniques like the godly body amplification technique, soul amplification technique, battle technique, close combat technique, soul attack technique, spiritual force weapon technique. You can have everything you want under the sun. Power levels range from strong to strongest. We even have as many as dozens of sets of ultimate techniques of Universe Masters. Learn to your heart's desire. Everywhere in this Beast God sector is open to you, Ancestor reiterated with a smile. You can research every secret technique, develop your talent, and then create a miracle. Ha ha. If you want a challenge, I am ready to oblige anytime. Of course, if you do become a Universe Supreme Master, there is no need for a challenge anymore. You have already succeeded. Enjoy looking around. Enjoy learning. I will be waiting for your challenge. Ha ha ha. 100,000 centuries. Interesting. Interesting. Ancestor laughed again, then vanished into thin air.